guy can
Not
be
now,
drunk.
kitten. Daddy will play with you later.
Styles.
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 Hi everyone.
Oh wow, great.
Welcome back. My name is Libby, and I've never seen Teen Wolf.
Hi, my name is Mary, and I can't stand Teen Wolf.
And behind the camera we have our wonderful producer Millie, and she's watched the entire thing.
It was pretty fun, I won't lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're about to lose the plot. Yes, this is Teen Wolf Week, and we have some wonderful, wonderful things for you. This research this week has been the funnest, I think, out of all of our... Funnest a word?
Funnest?
Funnest, it is now. It's been the funnest out of all of the research we've been doing. Embarrassingly, but it's been really good fun, and I still don't know that much about Teen Wolf. So when I get things wrong, feel free to laugh at me in the comments and educate me on what I've missed.
And I've suppressed my memories.
We're going to start you off with a beautiful, beautiful fanfic called Teen Wolf True Brit. It's a Teen Wolf fanfic on AO3 written in 2014 by brilliant Miracle, and it's an alternate universe, but the alternate universe is Britain. That's it. It's the first episode set in Britain.
Sick.
And it's definitely, I mean, it's brilliant. It's written by an American.
Do we know that it's an American? Or do we just assume?
I'm
Because it's so
assuming
bad?
from how bad it is. Sorry if you're not. But yeah,
Yes.
get ready for True Brit. Is everybody sitting comfortably?
We're just getting cracking on it. That's great.
Right.
So we're doing voices for this one.
British voices for this one.
British voices. for
British
this one.
voices.
Alright.
It all starts when Styles decided they should look for a dead body in the preserve.
Styles?
Scott says.
I don't think there is a dead body in a jar of jam.
It's Mrs. Bridges' Scottish Raspberry Preserve, Styles insists. I've met Mrs. Bridges. If there's not something fishy in her preserve, I'll be buggered. That is not the right use of that word.
What would be the right use of that word?
It's more like bugger it, as in like, oh, fuck it.
Okay. I'll be buggered. So it's dead body of a fish I'm looking for.
Scott squints at Styles. Styles sighs. Forget the jam. Let's go stalk my dad. Scott brightens up.
Is he looking for a dead body?
Styles stares. This is Yorkshire, Scott, not Nottingham. I've never used that phrase in my life.
I don't think anybody's gotten that reference.
I've never been like, this is Yorkshire, not Nottingham. I have never been to Nottingham. I don't know what that means. Scott sighs.
Believe me, I am grateful for that every day.
A couple of weeks later, a week later, sorry, a couple of joggers do find a dead body in the woods. Styles instantly drags Scott out in the dark to try and find it first. They live in England, so of course it's raining.
Of course.
Scott trudges along the pavement, getting his trainers muddy before they've even left the estate.
Bloody hate the rain.
Scott whines.
Couldn't we have driven?
Styles gives him a sad, soggy look. We're 16, moron. We can't drive.
I love how he needs to remind him.
He needs to remind him.
You're British, I'm British.
We're
Can't
16, moron.
Moron, come on.
Bloody hate the rain.
I don't know whether I've ever
All
actually
this is
called
missing
somebody a
is hello,
moron.
love.
That's actually quite American for this.
Moron.
Yeah, I don't really call people
What
moron
would you
in
call,
Britain.
what would you...
Idiot.
Knobhead.
Dumbass.
Dumbass.
I usually use knobhead.
Dumbass.
Dumbass.
Yes. Alright.
Absolute twat.
Twat.
We're
Twat.
16, you twat. We can't drive. Alright. Well, oh yeah. I don't know if I'll ever get my provisional license next year.
Scott says.
Mum's making noises about getting me a bicycle if I pass my GCSEs.
But you failed your cycling proficiency test, Styles says. I remember you rode into a wall. That's not a thing. We don't do a test to say if we can ride a bike or not. You're just kind of like 8 and your parents just kind of push you, and if you fall over, you fall over, and if you don't, you've learned how to ride a bike. I don't make the rules.
That's the thing. Cycling proficiency was literally, if some kids want to do it, let's do it.
What kind of
And then,
fancy school did you go to when they cared if you rode a bike?
they didn't care. That's the
Oh.
thing. We were like 10, and then they came in, and we were like, visitors are gonna come every week, and you guys can bring your bikes and do X, Y, Z. And we're like, cool. I don't want to, and they're like, that's fine. We don't care.
Oh.
Or they just let
British
like 10
culture,
kids
not
go off
giving
with
a
these
single
strangers being taught how to ride on the road.
That's
so it was
mad.
like driving your bike around, or like doing maths, or would you get out of class to do
Yes.
that? So
Yes.
why wouldn't you then?
I know, right?
Okay.
And I think for the very first lesson that we did it, a bunch of kids were there, and then they picked like 12 kids or something like that, or they did them in like sections of like 8 kids or 10 kids at a time.
Right, but you failed your cycling proficiency test. That isn't a thing, Style says. I remember you rode into a wall.
Can we
What?
I don't know, I just picture him like, you know, like straight into it. And also, if that actually happened, would he be like referring to it, that having happened, as, I remember you rode into a wall, you know? Like,
Oh, yeah, no, you wouldn't say that.
You wouldn't
You
say
would be
that.
bullied for it, but you'd have
Yeah.
a nickname.
Yeah.
Like
Well-
Faceplant or some shit like that. That would be your name.
Remember when you smashed your face into a wall? Yeah, haha, funny
Shut the
anyway.
fuck up, size.
Yeah, I'd be like, remember when you smashed your fucking face in? Like, that's...
And then, but his answer is, he just jumped out at me.
yeah, that... No.
Scott protest. Speaking of jumping and other physical activity.
No, Scott. Come on. I'm not going to be a reserve player on the footy team anymore. I refuse. It's not footy. No one calls it that. No one has ever called it that. No.
I don't mean playing reserve. We could really make the A team.
We don't have an 18.
I've just learned that you don't have an A team.
No, we don't do that. You're just good at football or you're not. Mate, you're fucking off the charts, Style said. You're an asthmatic, a proper wheezer geezer. I have 3 left feet. What does that mean? That whole sentence. A proper wheezer geezer, I have 3 left feet.
I get the 3 left feet part, it just seems like I'm clumsy.
Yeah, but usually you say 2 left feet.
I was
Unless you've got...
It's British.
I'm
We're
very
British because we're doing really great. Wheezer geezer.
Stranger things have happened.
Scott stubbornly mutters. He sighs and stops at the edge of the street. Down the street is the biggest woodland area that Beacon Hills has. Namely, 7 oak trees and a broken park bench. England is purely forests and like random stabby cities, but mostly forests. So I don't know why there's just 7 trees.
And also it's Yorkshire.
And it's in Yorkshire. That's mostly farmland. Like, Millie, how much farm is Yorkshire?
Oh my god, it's insane amount. There's 10 times more farm than there is people. Like, as soon
I'm
as you...
ripping this to pieces. We're like, I'm gonna read you a story now. We're like, that's not British.
That's
is
false
a
fact. Actually, there's somebody in the comments who said American football is for losers. I agree.
I agree so much.
100% people.
Absolutely 100%. Yeah, no, York is literally fields and fields and trees and fields, and then
Yeah.
a town that is like 50 square feet.
Yeah. You can walk across
And
it
then
in about
fields.
half an hour. Yeah.
And then there's a train track. That's about it.
Style size. There are already 4 police cars, 3 ambulances, and nearly all of Beacon's police department surrounding the trees. If you were hanging on for your dear life, literally a second away from death, they wouldn't even bother sending an ambulance out. You barely get a police car. Like, you might get like a groundskeeper and a shovel if you were like a dead body, and they might nudge you off somewhere. But like, I have never in my life been like, oh, 4 police cars, 3 ambulances. No.
How did you
They
get
don't give
3
a single
ambulances?
fucking shit if you're dead or alive.
My
Like,
hometown does not own 3 ambulances.
No, it is funny. It's
I don't
one
think
dead
any
body and they
hotel-
send 3 ambulances.
I
and
know.
4 police
Who?
cars. Like,
Who needs
who
them?
are you picking up, sir?
They're probably just helping, like, ambulances are mostly for, like, elderly people or people that have, like, life-threatening emergencies. And even then, they don't send them to you. But
That's,
for a dead body, they're like, 3 of them, send them.
that's gonna help.
Well, that was a stupid idea, he says, and then yelps, "My dad!" He gives Scott a panic shove, and Scott is knocked over a picket fence to ungainly land in a giant pink hydrangea bush, which is not native to the UK, let alone Yorkshire.
Wolves neither. But
Yeah, I mean, wolves are kind of in Scotland. Scotland, aren't they? They've just been reintroduced some years
That's
ago.
what Styles says.
We'll find out.
Oh,
Things just get worse from there. PC Stilinski hauls Styles back to the house by his ear, not a thing, and Scott has to walk back to his house on his own in the rain. He's pretty miserable enough about that. And then a fucking wolf chases him and bites him. That's all we get about this wolf, literally.
this is not fucking Nottingham!
Scott yells at the furry beast, but the wolf doesn't seem to understand him. That's all we get. We don't get, he was nervous, you hear a growl. It's just, then a fucking wolf chases him and bites him, and that's British culture. Just that one sentence. Fucking wolf bit him.
Imagine being bitten by a wolf and going, this is a fucking Nottingham! Why would you...
Next time I get bitten by a wolf, that's exactly what I'm going to say.
Next time I get this.
Next time, because that was
What does the writer think is up with Nottingham?
Yeah, what do they have against Nottingham? Have they been there once, or have they just been like, did they just Google English towns and came up with Nottingham? They were like, yep. No one understands me, Scott woefully thinks as he limps home. The teenage, over-emotional mental train continues when a wanker in a dark car nearly knocks into him. Just his bloody luck. That's
The wanker in a dark car was that one. That was accurate.
That's accurate.
That's okay.
His mum's not back from her night shift at A&E, or you could just call it a hospital. We have those. And Scott cleans up his bite as best he can with some antiseptic cream and plasters because we don't have bandages here in England. We used them all in the war. Here's what we have to do. In fact, it's only when he's trying to convince Styles in the morning that a wolf bit him that he realises something is terribly wrong. Wolves have been introduced in Scotland, Styles says, not here.
Well, I've got proof.
Scott says. He pulls off his school sweatshirt, jumper, undoes his school tie and lifts up his white school shirt to reveal the mess of plasters. It only
Why can't he just lift it up? Why does he have to strip?
Like, he does it
He has to take the tie off because something was weird.
Just wait, okay.
Wait a minute, it's stuck. It's only then that he realises he's used Mr. Bump plasters. That is British culture.
Okay.
Do you know what Mr. Bump is?
No.
So, do you know
I'm
what
not
Mr.
British, by the way, I'm Norwegian.
Do you know what the Mr. Men are?
No.
So it's like some children's characters, and there was like Mr. Happy, Mr. Sad, Mr. Rich, and it was like teaching you about.
Was there a
These
Mr.
characters
Rich?
are doomed to this emotion for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, so it kind of taught kids about like, oh, like Mr. Bump was really clumsy, so he always had bandages, and it was like about how people helped him, or Mr. Grumpy was always grumpy, and then like things like that.
Imagine being always grumpy.
But they were all different shapes and colours, and Mr. Bump was blue and round and always had bandages on him because he was bumping into things.
He's that one.
Mr.
Oh!
Bump. Yeah.
I've seen that on.
Yeah, and it's got
Bandages.
plasters of that,
Yeah.
which is kind of British culture.
Oh right. They got one thing right. That's.
Styles laughs at him so hard that in revenge, Scott points out that Lydia Martin's still ignoring him. Not cool, mate. You know I've had a crush on her since year 3, Styles pouts.
We should get to registration.
Scott sighs and reaches in his pocket to check that he has his inhaler to hand into reception. It's not there.
Bollocks.
Scott curses. He's probably dropped it in that damn hydrangea bush.
Fuck.
Fucking hydrangea bush, man. To be fair, handing in your inhaler to reception, that's British culture. Like having to give it into school. Do you remember that if you had like paracetamol on you in like primary school because you had like a stomachache, you'd have to hand it into reception so they could like give you your medicine? Was that not a thing in Norway?
Nine. No, you keep it in your backpack.
I mean, that makes more sense because then it's there when you need it.
Yeah.
So you don't die and they're like, oh, it's in the office.
It's in the office, but it's the middle of lessons, so you actually can't go right
You're not
now.
allowed.
Just like you can't go to the bathroom.
No, I don't remember ever bringing anything of that sort to school.
Yeah.
So maybe
Yeah.
there's some sort of system
I always
for
just
it,
suffered.
I mean, I never needed anything, so I was all right. I think I had like antibiotics
You were
once.
strong.
And I had to go to reception to get it, and I was like, I'm sick.
I had
As you did.
I had a blood test, and my mum came in with numbing cream, and had to like numb my arms and wrap them in cling film. And I went back to class thinking I was the shit.
It was when you went, like, when you had a doctor's appointment midway through school, and you're like, yeah, I'm not going to be there at lunchtime, guys. I've got a doctor's appointment. Like, it was the shit.
Yeah.
You were cool for some reason. Scott's expecting school to drag. It does, obviously. Beacon Hill's comprehensive. They've tried. is a sucking whirlpool that draws time into its relentless and inescapable vortex, leaving students stranded in its terrible wake. But what Scott doesn't expect is a sudden supernatural superhearing. He rubs at his ears and wonders if his mum is right about the healing powers of Weetabix over frosted shreddies. Do with that what you will.
I would just like to add, somebody in the comments has asked what is your guys' favourite cereal, so we need to know now.
I don't eat cereal because it's basically pencil sharpenings that you put milk over, and I disagree with the concept of it. It's not very nice.
That was a very serious...
Sorry, I have really serious opinions about cereal.
I like homemade granola.
You
That's
are
so
both
crunchy.
weird.
I also like those.
Do you put...
what are those chocolate flavored ones that have the bunny on them, but not the circular ones? The cups. It's not cup
With the
cups,
monkey?
but it's like, I don't fucking know. But the shape of the roundness of those, they capture kind of the flavor so much better than the circular ones.
Actually, Golden Nuggets is an OG cereal. Put sugar on it, it's amazing.
Milk fruits.
Oh my god, what's the Loop ones? I either eat Golden Nuggets or
Honey Cheerios or just the chocolate ones?
Cheerios!
Honey Cheerios,
I like
obviously. I'm not
Cheerios.
crazy, but I'd eat Cheerios just on their own.
Oh,
yeah,
sweet,
Weetabix
okay.
over Shreddies. Shreddies.
Frosted Shreddies, it
Frosted
says.
Shreddies, then Shreddies. Not that I eat them, but
Ugh.
Shreddies.
It's because Weetabix melts and then it goes soggy and then it tastes like vomit because of the texture. It's
Thank you for
disgusting.
that graphic image, Millie. Anyway, it's not until he's eavesdropping on a new girl coming into school who's forgotten to bring her own pen that he realises that something weird is going on. But hey, at least it's weirdness going on with a cute new student. Her name is Alison and her hair tumbles into effortless waves over her shoulders and her eyes like someone's stolen the stars from the sky. She's not like other girls.
That's not in there.
No, but she's
it's implied.
When she takes the spare seat behind Scott, he catches a whiff of her scent. She smells like sunshine and unicorns.
She
Oh,
smells like
yeah.
heat and horse.
That's what I said earlier! Unicorns just smell like horse shit. Sorry, spiraling. When Scott offers her his spare pen and she smiles, he feels like he's floating on air. Maybe this week isn't as rubbish as he thought it was going to be. Wow, at least it's going to be better for Alison than it might be. Mr. Johnson has a stash of I Love Justin Bieber pens for students who forgot them, and that sort of trauma's hard to come back from. His week is probably still going to be utter rubbish. Scott's new super hearing only enables him to overhear Alison getting cornered by Lydia and Jackson, but he's also forced to listen into Lydia and Jackson swapping saliva in the hallway at super volume. There's nearly compensation for all that trauma when Mr. Harris shouts at them in the hallway and gives them both detention for the two public display of affection. Jackson's sulks are always beautiful to behold. Scott wants to go looking for his inhaler, but the football trials are on, and if he misses them, the PE teachers won't let him play at all this term, which is absolutely pants. He sighs and he heads to the PE block to change into his PE uniform. Of course, Mr. Finstock puts him as a goalie, which is so frustrating because no one's ever made the A team and put in goal. Scott tries to protest, but Mr. Finstock shoves him over and Scott trudges miserably to stand in the middle of the goal. Alison's standing at the sideline of the field with Lydia and Scott inwardly cries. It's bad enough that he's about to fail to make the team, but Alison's super pretty and she smiled at
Oh
him.
my god.
It's the closest Scott's come to positive female interaction since the girl that worked at the bakery counter in Sainsbury's gave him a free sample of a hot cross bun. Culture! Scott's too busy sulking that he nearly misses his first two saves. He's a teenager. He's a teenager. He mentally reasons as he catches the balls. He's allowed to sulk in epic disproportions. It's practically expected. Hi everyone.
Oh, lovely.
Welcome back. The next one, we're not sorry for. It's not, well, I can't remember the end. It might be a bit graphic, so if you're not up for that, because the next one will be it's the most graphic thing I've ever read. So if you're not ready for that for the next one, this is a bit tamer. It's more just an intro.
It's a nice transition
Yeah.
from what we just had to what we're
Yeah, it's
getting ourselves into.
a medium place, a middle ground. Strap in. This one's called Dangerous Liaisons. It's on Wattpad by Becca Chaos. This one was 2017?
No, I believe It was
2013, wasn't it?
2013,
Yes, this one was written in 2013, so back in the day.
Yes.
And I hope you enjoy this. This is from Styles' perspective. I think it's kind of it's non-canon, this following, so don't expect too much.
Yeah.
I'm so sick of all this werewolf canima shit.
Seriously. I mean, what the hell? It's hard enough being a damn teenager without all of this paranormal crap. I know I'm just a human, and Scott's the one with the actual problems, but I just spent way too much time holding Derek Hale in the school swimming pool to care.
Sometimes I think they forget that I have feelings too, you know? The human that gets dragged into crazy werewolf situations that have totally nothing to do with him. I mean, yeah, it's freaking awesome sometimes, but right now, it's not so much my thing.
I stretched out in my computer chair after getting back from the school. My whole body ached from trying to stay afloat and avoid almost certain death from some weird snake lizard creature. I kicked off my shoes, which was still a little damp, and stretched my toes.
I need a goddamn shower.
The hot water felt amazing running down my body, like I could finally relax a bit. I soaked myself up and cleaned off that werewolf smell. Not just werewolf smell, wet werewolf. That is not pretty.
I turned off the water and wrapped a towel around my waist before walking out of the steam-filled bathroom. I yawned a little as I walked back into my room and shut the door behind me. As I stretched my arms out in front of me, I saw a shadow on the floor that didn't belong. I turned my head and almost fell on the floor with the shock of seeing Derek standing by my dresser.
Holy... what the hell, Derek? I leapt away and rubbed my eyes.
He looked me up and down and I became increasingly aware that I was naked. He gave me a bemused look and I held on tighter to my towel.
What are you doing here? I asked.
Did you talk to Scott? He said.
About what? Look, haven't you spent enough time with me today? I said.
He smirked. Don't flatter yourself there. I need to see Scott.
So, go and break into his house. Why is it always here? Why is it always me? I mumbled the last part to myself.
He's not at home and I'm not stupid enough to hover around the Argent's garden looking for him. I know he is. Derek rolled his eyes a little.
I sighed. Yeah, he's a bit of a loose cannon when it comes to Alison.
Derek shook his head a little, his lips never moving from their thin line. He had his hands in his jean pockets and a leather jacket covering his damp shirt. I felt a shiver run over me and looked at the open window.
Seriously? Do I need to start locking my windows to avoid late-night visits from werewolves? I asked, and this time his lips twitched into a smile.
You could, but I don't think you will.
What does that even mean? I asked.
You ask too many questions.
Well, no one ever answers me. I threw my hands up and my towel slipped a little.
Derek just laughed.
Don't you have a pack to go play with?
And here I was thinking you were enjoying my company. He walked over to me and held his face close to mine. If you get a hold of Scott, tell him I'm looking for him. His eyes dropped for a moment before looking me in the eyes again. By the way, your towel's starting to slip.
I turned my face away and held it far tighter as he climbed out of my window and bounded off into the night.
Well, that was pretty weird. Why does he always have to come and visit me when he's looking for Scott? I have enough trouble finding him as is. Yeah, imagine just seeing some guy in your bedroom like, bit weird.
That was pretty weird.
Kooky.
And why was he so chilled? There's dots there. It's not very Derek-like. Maybe he's right. I do ask a lot of questions.
Alright, I'll try to stop that.
For some weird reason, I just couldn't get Derek out of my head. There was just something about tonight that made him stick in there. It actually felt really good to be the one to save him for once.
Usually, I'm the goddamn damsel in distress. Which sucks, by the way.
I sighed and walked over to my bed and sat down, running my head over my while running my hand over my head and lying back down. I tossed my towel to the floor and climbed under my bed covers. As I closed my eyes, really needing to sleep, I realized that Derek was still hanging around in my head.
My eyes slowly began to get tired and I eventually drifted off to sleep. Styles.
I turned over, determined to stay asleep.
Styles. The voice got louder and more insistent. Styles!
I groaned and rolled back over. What? I opened my eyes to see Derek standing above me, and I flinched. Holy crap. Derek.
Yes, he said.
What? You're in my room, and you woke me up, so what do you want? I said.
You don't know.
So bad. I didn't say anything. I knew what I wanted, but was that what he wanted too?
He grinned wickedly and his eyes glowed red. I swallowed hard and said nothing as he pulled his jacket off his shoulders and dropped it to the floor. He swooped in close as I sat up a little. He held his body over mine and his face drawing close. I felt him breathe in deeply, taking in my scent. I forget that they do that because they're werewolves. In my brain I'm like, ugh. He let out a growling sound that sent shivers down my spine in a way that could have been out of fear, but I'm almost certain it was something else.
God. I closed my eyes and took a few heavy breaths, and then it happened. I startled myself awake.
What the fuck? I said to myself.
What the fuck? I said to myself. I'm sorry.
Sorry,
That
Styles.
was okay.
This was not normal. I can't believe that I just had a dream about Derek. Like that.
I shut the door of my Jeep outside my house. My dad was out at the station still. He probably had a late shift tonight. What with all the crap going on around here.
I walked up to my bedroom and threw my bag on the floor. As I went to sit down in my computer chair. As I went to sit in my computer chair, but as I turned, I caught a glimpse of someone in the corner of my room and slipped off the edge of my chair onto the floor.
Derek! I said as I climbed back up, and he shook his head at me. Again? Really?
He laughed and folded his arms.
Or is it another dream? I muttered.
Another dream? He raised an eyebrow with amusement and I opened my eyes wide. You realise I can hear you from here?
Well, yeah, obviously, I said.
So you thought that what you just said was the best thing to say?
I shrugged and shook my head around, turning my gaze away from him. God, this was awkward. Why is he even here? I looked back up at him to ask him just that, and he was gone. What the?
So what were you dreaming about, Styles? I leapt forward as I felt his hot breath on my ear.
I rubbed my neck where I had felt him whisper at me, and I gave him a look. What are you doing? I asked.
He grinned wickedly and stepped forward a little. My heart pounded and I wasn't sure why. Was I scared, or was it something else entirely? He walked towards me and I took steps back until I hit the wall. I looked back to confirm that yes, I was stuck, and he was still advancing.
Is it wrong that a part of me was aching for him to keep going? I won't tell you which part of me that was.
He stopped only inches from me and his eyes gazed me up and down. I swallowed hard. That was the best noise.
Thank you.
You can't hide it, Styles. I can smell it on you.
Ooh.
He growled.
I don't know what you mean. Can you smell lies too? I hope not.
He grinned and pressed me against the wall with one hand, his claws beginning to extend. He dragged it down over my chest and I think I may have stopped breathing. I closed my eyes tightly and his breath was bearing down on my neck, beads of sweat forming on my forehead. His breath was rasping like a low growl, and his claws were only just grazing my skin as his hand slipped under my shirt and back up over my stomach.
My breathing was ragged and my mouth was parted as he sent shivers down my spine. What the hell was going on with me?
Do you feel that? He said.
Yeah. Wait, what? I said, turning my head to look at him. his eyes so close to mine that I could see myself in them.
Your heart's racing.
Yeah, I have allergies or something. I don't know. I think it's the weather for it.
Styles.
Yeah.
Shut up, he said with a shake of his head.
I went to speak, but he gave me such a menacing glare that I shut my mouth instantly.
He gazed into my eyes and I swallowed hard again. He leant in towards me a little before he looked up and threw me across the room.
Ow! What the? Dad? I was leaving. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna cry.
Ow! What the? Dad? I was leaning against my desk as my father opened the door.
I think he may have called out as he did, but I was too busy being thrown painfully in the desk to notice.
You alright there, Styles? He asked you in concern. Stop wheezing at me.
You wheezing either.
Yes, with a concerned look in his face. Yeah, never better. What's up? My eyes darted to Derek standing just behind the door.
My dad looked a little confused, but that was pretty much the way he always looked at me.
Just seeing if you were going to be playing in the game this weekend. I don't know. I didn't know you were home, and I'll probably be on the bench again as usual. I just had to collect some files, and I saw your Jeep, so I thought I'd come up and ask. Clearly, this was a bad time. He raised his eyebrows and suppressed an awkward smile. I should be in for dinner tomorrow, but I have a late night tonight. Yeah, sure, cool. I'll just leave you to whatever it is you were doing. He backed out of the room, closing the door behind him. Yeah, alright, night, Dad.
I said, exhaling for the first time since he actually came in.
He was a little weird, don't you think?
I asked casually, and Derek shook his head.
What?
He walked over coolly and stood in front of me. Maybe it was because of this. He reached out and cupped his hand to the bulge in my jeans and my jaw dropped.
That was all I could manage.
But I don't think he expected that anyone else was in here. He grinned, and I shot him a glare.
Yeah, thanks for that. He laughed before he threw me back onto my bed.
He descended on me.
Oh.
We're getting there, kids.
It's going.
We're there. He descended on me, standing over me and waiting for me to make room. I just looked up at him, so strong and rugged. I knew exactly what he was doing to me.
He knew exactly, yeah.
He knew exactly what he was doing to me. I scooped backwards on the bed and he knelt over me.
I don't know why I let him keep going, but I couldn't stop this feeling. I have never felt like this with someone before.
He pulled at my shirt and I sat up so he could pull it over my head.
Oh. I'm gonna have some more of this.
He forced me back down and his lips finally made contact with my skin. The scratchy stubble on his chin skimming my chest as he kissed my collarbone. That was a lot of fucking symbolism there. The scratchy stubble on his chin skimming my chest as he kissed my collarbone and his hand ran back and forth over my stomach.
Did you really come here because you wanted to see Scott? I said shakily.
He looked up at me with a scowl before he went back down to kissing my chest.
I guess that means you're not a big talker.
Styles, he said as his lips brushed my ribs.
I think I probably do too much talking.
Styles, he said with annoyance in his voice, he lipped just above my navel.
So.
Put your fucking tongue away.
How long have you known that you were,
Styles, he growled. Styles. Styles, he growled, and he let his face hover over mine with a glowering look. If you don't shut up, I'm gonna make you.
How would you? I probably should have taken the hints earlier, but in a way, I'm glad I didn't.
He roughly pressed his lips into mine and opened his mouth, and I did just the same. His tongue slipped behind my teeth, and he reached his hand up to hold my face tightly. I don't
What?
when people kiss with tongue because you have your own one. Keep it to your fucking
You
self.
don't kiss with tongue?
I don't kiss.
Ever?
I'm a single
You don't
ass
kiss?
bitch.
Oh, okay.
It's just, it's grim.
Did you hear the judgment? There was judgment.
Oh, okay. It's just gross.
For me, it's like the sentence that is awkward. Like,
His
he
tongue's-
roughly pressed his lips into mine, and I opened his mouth as I did just
I get
the
that
same.
bit. It's like his tongue slips behind my teeth. Like, don't lick his teeth. They're not yours. You did not ask
Do you
permission
lick
to
your
do
own
that.
teeth?
I feel weird now with my own tongue. Oh god. As he moved his lips with mine in a hot mess of tongues, put it away. Oh, he put his leg between my thighs and ground his hips against mine. Put your tongue away, man. You don't need to do
I
that.
do not agree with this. I don't
just
see
think
the
it's
problem with
grim.
tongue.
Do you not? It's just like, ugh. No.
Right.
No, we've had this conversation in
A solid
January.
heat pressed against me, and groan escaped. Oh, and a groan escaped my lips as he thrust in slow strokes. He pulled his lips from mine and stared down hungrily before he pulled off his shirt and tossed it to the ground. He forced my head to the side as he kissed my neck, and I felt my hands shaking as I struggled to think of what to do with them.
Tell me you want me, Derek growled, his eyes starting to glow red.
This doesn't feel canon to me. Tell me you want me, Derek growled. I feel like he would just be silent the entire time.
He would just stare him down. That's the thing with
Yeah.
Styles. Styles gives in to Derek's eye contact in the series every fucking time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, just stare him
He
down.
just like
He goes,
eye contact, like,
okay.
Yeah, but imagine how boring that would be to read. Just, he was still staring at me, kind of scarily. He kept going.
I
I
know
said
you-
this. He was still staring. Like, you gotta have content.
But I mean, I know you've never seen the show, but as someone who's seen the show, can you picture Derek saying, "Tell me you want me"? Can you picture that? As the first time they're having any sort of like
Intimate
sexual
relationship.
interaction.
not the first time, no.
Tell me you want me.
Tell me you
No.
want me.
No.
He growled. He didn't even say it like,
Tell me you want me. That's what I pictured.
Gollum. Just Gollum.
terrified.
Okay, I guess I can see like if he starts turning into a wolf and his eyes starts like glowing red or whatever. I guess I can see. Tell me.
Heavy breathing.
Heavy breathing. Tell me you want me.
Yeah. Okay.
It's more of like, I know you want me, because he can like sense
Yeah,
it.
that would make sense.
I know you
Right,
want
we'll
me.
be writing
Yeah.
Would
this.
be better.
Not
Tell me you want me. That's like
Yeah,
yeah.
we're gonna rewrite it.
Absolutely.
I know you want
We're
me.
gonna rewrite
Derek
it.
growled. His eyes starting to glow red.
Oh yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
he looked up at me, his hips still grinding softly. I just sort of gaped at him, and he smiled.
Don't you know how to play the game, Styles? He grinned as he clawed himself off me and turned to me over so he could kiss his way down my back.
Ooh, we're that
Kiss his way.
Right. Shivers engulfed me, and I wasn't sure that I could say anything, even if I wanted to. But I managed to get something out. You told me to shut up.
I felt him smile as he drew the skin of my back into his mouth and grazed his thankfully human teeth over it.
As he drew the skin of my back, I just
Don't eat people. It's not sexy. It's painful.
What? No.
Have you ever... Never mind.
Yeah, don't ask me this question on streaming.
Have you never butt?
Have never have I ever bitten someone's back.
I just imagine like Derek is a sort of like vacuum cleaner.
It just shows up, it's just a round purple spot.
My
Anyway, continue.
hands gripped the sheets tightly.
Don't tell me you're new to this.
I scoffed a little. No, I said without much conviction.
I felt him stop and I felt him stop and panted a little.
It's a bad sentence.
Styles, are you saying that you're a virgin? Judgy bitch!
What the fuck? Okay. He asked, and I screwed up my face and shrugged a little. Not, well, I mean, well, technically.
I heard him sigh and felt him get up off the bed.
I rolled over and I saw him pull his shirt back on. Wait, what? Where are you going? I said, not wanting him to leave.
He didn't answer. He just pulled the window open more and climbed out.
Wait! Derek! I sat up and looked out my window as he jumped off the roof and started walking away. I just pictured it like what he does.
Why the hell would he do that? I didn't even know I wanted him until he made me feel it, so what the hell was his problem? He couldn't just throw himself out there and then leave. I felt like an idiot.
I want you, I said to myself. I really did. I wanted to be with Derek, but for some reason, he was just gone.
That's the end of that one.
That's the end of the second one.
So, as two people that have read the next,
What do you...
well, you've read it all. I read the next like 4 chapters. It's we have to give context and then move on because time. But
Oh, for this, I thought you meant the next one.
for this. So basically, it's like an you imprinted on my daughter type situation.
You imprinted on my daughter.
It's a scent thing, like it's a trigger.
Basically,
Styles
yeah.
just sets him off and
Derek's
makes him
just like
hungry.
drawn to him.
Oh.
He's like not sure why, but he's just drawn.
So he
to
left
Styles.
because he can't go back. It was just coincidental timing. Derek's not actually a prick.
Yeah.
And then Derek actually heard him say, "But I want you."
It's werewolf hearing apparently.
Yeah, werewolf
That's a
hearing.
thing.
So-
Yeah.
So why doesn't Derek think much of him being a virgin?
It's not that, it's that he didn't want to like have his first time, like he didn't want to take his virginity, even though virginity is a social construct.
no, it's not about that.
No, it is, isn't it? Because he's like, I don't want it to be with me when I'm dangerous, and like he deserves to have a nice time when he's fully consenting.
Yeah, it's
to
about
someone.
being like gentle and shit like
Yeah.
that because he's gonna turn
He's
if
gonna,
he does it.
gonna
He's
turn.
wild.
He's gonna turn.
Yeah, so that's fun.
Yeah.
But it's actually good. It's a good fic. I read the whole thing. It's Hi everyone.
Hello.
Welcome back to what is going to be really graphic content.
Are you excited? I'm excited.
I'm not excited.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really vivid. This is the most descriptive graphic content I've ever read, and that's why we're reading it. The only way we can do this without corpsing, because we're kind of drama people, is to do Scottish accents. So enjoy this rendition.
I'm so sorry.
We're really sorry.
Alright.
Alright,
Are you ready?
you ready?
I don't know if I'm doing
Do you want me to go first?
You can, yeah, I need to hear a Scottish accent.
I apologise for my Scottish accent. as well.
Actually,
Here is an extract from Doubling Down, read in Scottish, just for you.
it's written in Scottish.
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 Don't you fucking dare. Scott's eyes bugged out of his head when Jackson cut him off. His whole body tensing for a moment of fight or flight, despite how their game had gone. I don't need your fucking pity. Guys like you always do this. Whining about what a nice dude you are while eating your own ass. Hop off the fucking high horse.
He, at least, had a stretch to get up, march over to Scott. Jackson pushed into his space just like earlier, nearly bashed their heads. He wrinkled his nose in disgust and then
Fell to his knees. Scott would never be the kind to actually take it. To tell him what, to get what they'd promised. But he certainly let it happen as Jackson drags down his nylon shorts, peeled away his soaked-through compression gear. His furry belly trembled on a surprised sigh as his steaming cock was exposed to the cool air. A thick waft of his raunchy teenage stint fogging up the room.
ugh, it's disgusting.
I'm gonna start crying in a second.
Jackson's eyes
puke.
unfocused in the wake of it, his mind fussing over whatever sting he'd been nursing long after he was dulled in the moment, as the dense, heady richness of cock filtered through his brain and made his mouth of it. He fucking loved it.
Very few got to pry this from him, but as he drooled and lunged onto Scott's flaccid length, groaning at the pungent salt of it, his eyelashes fluttered and that hungry thing inside him delighted. Out of all his carnal desires, no one would think that Jackson was most addicted to sex. He didn't display it like the other dumb ducks, barking out jokes dirtier than they were funny. He didn't bend himself over backwards to try and ferret it from every girl that thought him sexy.
I disagree. Right. There were so many ways both his age could fall into hedonistic worship of their own nuts, and for him it was a tremulous decadence. Jackson only ever brandished his cock like it might kill him, and he needed it nonetheless. He stroked it in the dark places, swaddled beneath cloak, and with his mouth sewed shut.
He indulged this pleasure with reckless abandon, as though every orgasm was a relapse. So he groaned more whorish than any porn star as he stuffed his face into the wiry cushion of Scott's warm, tacky, uneven hang of a sack.
Can we do that again?
You want me to say it again? Why is it always me?
It's so many adjectives. Can we brandish his cock like kill? Wait, stuffed his face into the
wiry cushion of Scott's warm, tacky, and even hang of a sack. The skin was loose and soft, and it melted around his chin and stuck to the skin. I have to do that twice.
You had to do it twice last time as well.
The wild, unkempt shock of his pubes tickled Jackson's.
We've got this, fine.
Tickled Jackson's nostrils and grit against his teeth.
I've got this, fine.
It was tangy and raw and sordid as he felt himself spitting pre-cum. As he felt himself spitting pre-cum from this alone, Scott instantly chummed up in response to his eagerness, and unlike Styles' squawking and screeching, he too sunk into the tryst.
His back hit the lockers, his thighs trembled. He slowly started sliding down them, humming in delight as Jackson's tongue slobbered. Put your fucking tongue away! As Jackson's tongue slobbered.
That's the only thing he has to put away right now. Seriously.
I am doing my best. Humming in delight as Jackson's tongue slobbered and laid at his hanging nuts. Oh, fuck, was all he could drawl. Come down before he'd even shot a load. It's not like Jackson didn't pride himself on just what he was capable of here. But he didn't even expect to have already sucked the guy's brains out. Pull yourself together.
My glasses are fucked up.
This is a serious live stream, Millie. Pull yourself together.
We're being professional.
Professional.
Professional, Millie. Okay. He just rolled his eyes, slung one of Scott's legs over his shoulder so he could hold the boy open wide, smother his own face along the soft, tender insides of his thighs before digging into that swampy, hot crease.
Swampy? Oh no.
It's so disgusting. He drug his tongue across every inch of that fold where the leg met him. Pushed his way up and under to suckle at Scott's taint groan between his creaks.
His hair was dark and plush in the crack, exploding out of it to a sparse arrangement on his perky if tiny ass.
No.
They were a reflection of Jackson's own large, flat, freckled rear. If he weren't so self-conscious of it, he might have regularly let Styles fuck it with that pretty little dick of his.
Styles? What? Wait,
He said pretty little dick, and I feel like that's not fair. As it were, he just snarled to have it finger fucked while I was sucking tongues. Stop sucking each other's tongues! Why do I get these lines? This is going to be an edit of me screaming about fucking tongues, man.
That will.
Right. You're doing great.
Thank you.
Great, sweetie.
Thank you. Scott surely had a little idea of what inviting company near such places ought to entail. Jackson doubted he'd ever gotten head before. I'm sorry, Jackson. Someone might tell him to be more thorough with his foreskin. to trim his bush, to freshen up his hole. Someone other than him. He pressed his face into Scott's crack, even as the boy yelped, went cross-eyed as he audibly inhaled, and then started slurping. Slurping.
No sound effects.
Scottish doesn't help anymore. It helped a bit in the beginning, and now it's
It's helping me, but I've just remembered this line.
You got the line.
I got the line. It was ripe. Gamey, in a way that warm, sweaty boy hole could be. To Jackson it felt like a delicacy. All the fine things he knew in life were pungent. The brine of caviar, the sulphur of jet fuel, the iron in rare meat. He pulled off Scott's hole with a pop and stood to smear his face all up his tacky belly, across his chest, and smothered himself in the dark warmth of his pits to suck on the damp fur. His armpits! Put your fucking tongues away, man. Keep them out.
No.
If I can say gamey, you can say that next bit. You're fine. Literally, look, we finished that. You got
I
it.
know, it's fine. I just... No judgment or anything to anyone who watches and likes this, but...
Yeah, no, we're laughing at it purely because we have to read it on the internet.
There's props to the writer as well. These
Yeah.
adjectives,
Yeah.
how vivid this image
is the
is.
description.
It's
Like,
just
I admire the writer for
so
being able to
vivid.
do this, but
So vivid.
we're only giggling at it because.
And because
It's so
of
vivid.
how well written it is.
It's so vivid. It's so vivid.
So vivid.
It's so vivid.
So vivid.
It's so vivid.
Vivid.
Okay. It was a luxury. Hearing him kneel. What does mule mean?
Like a cat, like.
That's great. I thought that was like meow, but okay. Meow. Meow. Feeling him shiver, quiver, grinding against the sticky hardness, flexing against his hips, and knowing it would elicit a sticky gush. I'm okay. When he pulled away, snotty strings of pre-cum webbed between their groins, and he had a fresh shine of sweat smeared all over his face, his skin.
Jackson let Scott look over his debauchery, drink in his swollen lips and the red cockhead, pulsating balls and heaving chest. Just remembered my mum might be watching this. Sorry, Mum.
Hi, Libby's mum.
He let Scott gaze at his prize and inflate himself with the worth of it. Pretty, prim, powerful Jackson made a mess by him, lusting for him, sticky and stinking and salacious. He let Scott taste what it was like to claw for something and get to mark it up. Call it yours and drag your nuts across it and shower it with piss.
Figuratively.
For now. And that is that for tonight,
sums it
folks.
up.
The Scottish really helped me, I'm not gonna lie.
I agree.
It really helped me focus on not puking. You know, like from laughter, because my sides hurt. But, I hope you enjoyed it. Let us know in the comments which was your favourite fic, and if the accents were any good, because I thought we were pretty decent.
I thought we were great.
We thought we were great.
We were great.
We were great.
We were great.
Yeah, I think that's all we have time for. Next week, not next week, the week after, bi-weekly,
It's viewer's choice.
it's viewer's choice. So you guys at home get to pick what we read, whether that is Lightning McQueen fanfic, Twilight fanfic, whatever you can find and send to us.
Mike Wazowski.
We have read Mike Wazowski fanfic.
Gravity Falls.
Follow us.
Bill Cipher.
Gravity Falls.
Bill
For
Cipher.
the win, guys.
From the
Just message us.
Message us
Message
at
us.
Officially Lost the Plot on our Instagram.
Yeah.
It's written right above your heads.
Message us and we will
Read whatever you
We'll
want.
read whatever you send us, and then we'll vote and we'll pick the top 3. And that's what we will read next week. So please send us your most brilliant cursed things. Hope you are doing great. Love you all, folks.
We have lost the plot.
We have lost the bloody plot.
And we hope you have too.
See you later, you weezer geezers.
Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.